Okay, today I'm going to demonstrate gum paste flowers for you. We're going to start with a Stargazer lily. So this is pretty intricate work. I don't expect any of you to do it, and I will show you how we do it once we get back to school. So I'm just going to work the gum paste a little bit. We always want to keep it covered in plastic wrap so it doesn't get dried out. You want to use a plastic. I'm just using a Ziploc bag to roll it out. All right. We'll add a little cornstarch. That'll help roll it out. So gum paste flowers are really intricate and they're very delicate. You have to work very gently when you make them. But they do add a phenomenal decorative element to a cake or really anything. So I'm just going back and forth and rolling it out. I'm gonna take it up, make sure it's not sticking at all. Maybe add a little more cornstarch, just very little. Don't worry about the cornstarch so much, just because when we form the petals and everything later, we can brush it off. It's not a big deal. So if you want to roll it out too, I would say about 1/8 of an inch or so, pretty thin. Okay. So it looks good to me. Next, we're going to take our cutter for the lily and we'll push down. All right. While we're working with gum paste, we always want to keep it covered. Okay, so we have the petal cut out and I have a wire here. It's just a white floral wire. I'm going to stick it in the base. Try to get it in the middle of the petal so it doesn't come out the back. We want to take it to about here. This gives it stability. And then we'll just close up the bottom like that. Now I have a mold here that gives a little bit of texture and a little bit of realness. They definitely have higher quality molds out there. We'll just push down. You can see it kind of gives a little bit of vein. Now we'll take, this is a ball tool. We'll dip in a little bit of cornstarch if we need it. And then we'll just run along the edge. We want to ripple the edge to make it look lifelike. Okay, now we'll go ahead and do the other side. You can see it starting to happen. This is a very delicate process. These are very labor intensive. It takes a lot of time to make these. But the end result is beautiful. Okay, so once we do that step, I usually like to bring over, you can use, they actually have proper molds that you could buy, but most people in the industry use just egg crates, and then we stick the flower and petal in and just give it a little bit of shape, like so. And then we'll let this dry overnight, at least overnight. They usually say about 3 hours, but I like to give it overnight. Okay. Okay, so here I have a petal that I made last night. So if it has a little bit of cornstarch on it, now is the time that we want to wipe it off with a brush. Okay. Now, some people like to add a little bit of other color or shading to the flower to make it a little more realistic. I like to add color to give it a little pop. I'm just using dry food coloring. So you always want to start a little heavier with the color at the base and then just drag it up and thin that color out, fade it a little bit. Okay, then I also have some luster dust, which is silver or gold glitter dust, and I like to hit my brush a little bit, get the excess off, and then I'll come in again and just brush it very delicately. Okay, and then we would want to do this for 6 petals. Okay, so here I have 6 petals ready to go. I also made this little center for it. I just took my wires and I folded it in half, and then I just added a little bit of yellow gum paste. Okay, so I've turned all of these. I'll show you. You want to give it a good bend. And then we'll just take it, very delicate, very gently. Take all of these. We'll also take our center, like so. And then we will just keep going around. Now don't worry too much about fixing them up. We can do that once it's all molded together, once we tape it up. So one more, and then I have some tape here. I'm just using Scotch tape. Normally you would use floral tape. I just don't have any. Then we'll take it and start wrapping. I just like to start in the center to kind of get it going. And then you want to go around. Okay. Now, I've already made one that's white. So you would take the styrofoam and poke it through. And then we can shape it a bit to how we would like it. Just have to be very gentle and work it carefully. But you could see how dramatic and pretty this would look if we had a handful of these on top of a cake. Rose. Yesterday we made the center of the rose out of gum paste, and we just made it into a cone and put it on a stem. Okay. So I rolled out some red gum paste, and we're going to take our cutter. These are cutters for roses. There are 3 different sizes. We'll go in and just cut 3 for the first round. Okay, and then we'll cover this. Okay, now I'm going to take my ball tool and round out the edges. We just want to do the top area. and try and get them nice and thin, like a petal. So next, we'll take it and we'll put it on the edge of our spoon and then just push this down just a little bit this time around. So we'll go again. Take a little cornstarch if we need it. Just a light little bit on top. And then we will place it on here. And one more time. Okay. All right. Now we have some water here and a brush. We're going to use this as glue. You can also use, sometimes people make gum paste glue, and it's basically a little bit of gum paste that's boiled down with water to thin it out, and it makes a great glue. But I'm using water for now. So we're gonna brush a little on. We're going to take a petal, and put it on. We wanna get this layer pretty close to the center of the cone. And then we'll take another one. We want to keep it open. And then we're just going to layer them in between each other. And just fold it over as we go. So we'll keep this one low and tight also. And we'll fold it over. And the last one, a little water. And then we'll get that one in. Just fold it over. You want to keep it tight this round. Okay. And just smush all the excess around the base here. We can remove it. See? Okay. That's just so the flour doesn't get too heavy. Okay, now I'm just going to remove these. We have my carton right here, just leaving this in. I'm just going to let it hang out like this just so we don't lose any of that shape while we do the next layer. Okay. For the next layer, we're going to cut out 5 with the next size. Cover that up. Okay, same process. We'll just go in. Just the edge. This time we want to get it really, sometimes if it gets a little sticky, we can use a little more cornstarch. Just really thin edge, as thin as possible. Okay. And now we take the spoon. This time we're going to push the petal back a bit, so we develop that top edge. Okay. Just gives a nice thin ripple. And push it back. can see how it's pushed back over the spoon. Okay, now we're going to let these sit and harden up just a little bit for about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so now these have set for about 15 minutes. So we're ready to continue our layering. So I'm going to brush a little water. Take a petal. And glue it on. You want to go just a little bit higher, maybe a quarter of an inch or so higher than where the last petal stops. We'll leave this open. We'll put another one in. Slowly start to close it off as we go around. Now we'll take another little bit of water and do that again. And we want to make sure they're all at the same level up here. Push it out a little. This is when we could start manipulating it just a little bit. We'll take a little more water. Put our fourth one in. Okay, now we'll close it off. At this point, you can see we have all that cornstarch in there. That's not a big deal. We can go back and clean that up. But at this point, we pretty much have a rose, a good start to a rose at least. If you were making smaller roses, you could absolutely stop here and call it a day. We can even go in, and this is when we want to work it a little bit. Just manipulate it a little bit. If you wanted to continue to make a fuller looking rose, you could add 7 more petals with this size cutter. So I'll set this off over here. I've made a rose with the 7 just to show you, and it looks a bit more full. It looks like this. I've also sprinkled it with a little luster dust just for a little more drama. And that's pretty much how you make gum paste roses.